lo más regué. Y cada vez vuelvo a ver, pues cuando voy para allá para Jalisco, mi compa aquí, que no.
January 2018, a young social media star decided to name drop one of Mexico's most powerful cartels in a video. 3 weeks later, CCTV picks up his execution in broad daylight. Another viral moment, but this time, it'd be his last. Here's sometimes YouTubers messed with the wrong cartels. December 18th, 2017, Juan Luis Lagunas Rosales walks into the Menta 2 Cántaros bar in Zapopan. Little does he know, in less than an hour, 4 armed men will walk through those same doors and turn this party into a bloodbath. Born into poverty in Sinaloa, Juan's early life was marked by abandonment. His father was never in the picture, and his mother left him with his grandmother when he was just a child. At 15, he dropped out of school and headed to Culiacán, hoping to find a better life. But the city of Culiacán, a stronghold of Mexico's drug trade, had other plans in store for him. While working as a car washer, Juan discovered that alcohol could make him temporarily forget his troubles. But it was this same addiction that would unexpectedly change his life forever. It all started with a viral video of him chugging an entire bottle of vodka in one go. Suddenly, everyone wanted a piece of El Pirata. Nightclubs paid him to show up and drink. Music videos wanted him as a guest star. His social media following exploded. The skinny teenager who was once washing cars for a living had become Mexico's drunk teenage sensation, building an empire of over 1 million Facebook followers and another 100,000 on Instagram. But fame went straight to Juan's head. He started posting photos with guns, luxury cars, and women. His videos became more outrageous with each passing day. Then, during a drunken party in December 2017, he made a fatal mistake, pulling out his phone to record a message for El Mencho, leader of Mexico's most brutal cartel. Now, what Juan didn't understand at that time was that El Mencho wasn't just another social media celebrity he could mock for views. As the leader of the CJNG cartel, he'd built his empire out of extreme violence, killing anyone who showed him even the slightest disrespect.
This is a guy who'll execute your whole family based on not much more than a rumor.
That being said, Juan sealed his fate with that one video. On December 18th, he told his followers he'd be partying at his favorite bar in Jalisco. He was basically painting a target on his own back in El Mencho's territory. Then at 11 p.m. sharp, 4 men stepped into that bar, and without a word, they pulled out their guns and brutally fired 15 shots at Juan's head. Bullets tore through him with such force nobody could even recognize his face anymore. The police had to check his tattoos just to be sure it was him. A bartender would die that night as well, caught in the shower of bullets meant for Juan. Just another innocent life lost because he happened to be in the wrong place. El Mencho got exactly what he wanted, a message written in blood. The meaning was crystal clear. Joke about the CJNG and you're dead. And here's the scariest part. If this is how El Mencho dealt with a silly video, just imagine what happened to the people who actually cross him. But while Juan's story showed the dangers of directly mocking a cartel leader, our next case proves that even using humor to discuss Mexico's social issues can put you in the crosshairs.
Para quienes no me conocen, yo soy la Nana Pelucas.
February 5th, 2018. Leslie Ann Pamela Montenegro, known to her followers as Nana Pelucas, is out on a date with her husband, enjoying what seems like just another Monday evening. But when 5 men walk through the door and order beers, she doesn't realize these would be the last moments of her life. Leslie wasn't your typical social media star. She didn't chase fame through pranks or stunts. Instead, she built her following by becoming the voice Mexico desperately needed. Wearing a black afro wig, bold red lipstick, and oversized glasses, she created the character of Nana Pelucas, a grandmother figure who wasn't afraid to speak truth to power. Through her YouTube channel El Sillon, Leslie tackled corruption head-on, but she did it with a twist. She used humor to expose serious issues. Her videos mixed comedy with hard-hitting journalism, making complex political stories accessible to everyday people. This unique approach earned her a devoted following, but it also put her on some dangerous radars. The cartel of Acapulco didn't take kindly to journalists poking around their business. They had a reputation as one of Mexico's most brutal criminal organizations, responsible for more killings than any other cartel cartel in that region. So when Leslie's reporting started getting too close to their operations, the warnings began. First came these threatening banners near her restaurant in Acapulco. Messages appeared accusing her of working with rival cartels, but Leslie refused to back down. She denied any cartel connections and kept reporting, believing that the truth was worth the risk. That February evening, 5 men approached her table and shot her multiple times in the face and abdomen. Leslie's voice, which had brought both laughter and truth to so many, was permanently silenced. But the tragedy didn't end with her death. The investigation that followed exposed the very corruption she had fought against. One of the killers, known as El Pepas, was captured and identified as a cartel member. Yet somehow, despite overwhelming evidence, judge dismissed the case. The system Leslie had criticized was now protecting her killers. Her husband Samuel, however, refused to let her death be forgotten, pushed for answers, demanding to see the evidence the prosecutor claimed to have. But unfortunately, like so many other cases in Mexico, justice has yet to be served. Now Leslie's murder sent shockwaves through Mexico's journalism community. How could someone so bold be silenced in such a public way without anyone doing anything about it? Acapulco, once a paradise for tourists, is now ranked as the second most dangerous city in the world. The US government even issued a travel ban to the region, warning its citizens to stay away. While El Pirata had died for a moment of drunken bravado, Leslie's story showed something far more chilling. Cartel territory, even journalism wrapped in humor, could be a death sentence. But as our next case will show, sometimes people attract the cartel's attention without even trying to expose them. July 14th, 2023. On Guadalajara's Matuteremos Bridge, 3 luxury cars block all lanes during rush hour. TikToker Fofo Marquez films what he thinks is just another prank. This stunt will turn his life into a nightmare. Born in 1997 into Mexico's elite, Rodolfo Fofo Marquez never knew what it meant to struggle. His father owned a successful chain of gas stations called Total, and young Fofo made sure everyone knew about his privileged life. He built a massive social media following by flaunting his wealth, luxury cars, exclusive clubs, and expensive watches. To his millions of followers, he was living the Mexican dream. That day on the bridge, drunk on fame and his own sense of importance, Fofo decided to take things too far. Standing in the middle of blocked traffic, he proudly recorded himself saying something he shouldn't have.
Already we've closed it for us. This is what I want to show, what money and power can do. I mean, literally, I closed it here because I wanted to enlighten, and we've been here for several minutes. I'm gonna make some little TikToks.
The video exploded, reaching over 10 million views in just 24 hours. While some fans cheered his audacity, others were outraged. The mayor of Guadalajara threatened legal action, and TikTok suspended his account. Suddenly realizing the gravity of his actions, Fofo rushed to apologize on other platforms, agreeing to pay fines and perform community service cleaning the very bridge he had blocked. But Fofo had made a fatal mistake. This bridge wasn't just any bridge. It was in territory controlled by the CJNG. El Mencho, who we already established is infamous for killing people over the slightest provocation, definitely had a problem with Fofo's antics. Days after the video went viral, a chilling message appeared on Facebook. It read,
To you, Fofo Marquez, we'll tell you to be careful because we'll not let you come to Guadalajara thinking that you can do whatever you want. Here in Jalisco, the boss is El Mencho. If we see you again in Guadalajara, we'll kidnap you, and not even all the money you have will help you.
The threat's authenticity was debated. The CJNG rarely communicated through social media, but Fofo wasn't taking any chances. His family spared no time and immediately hired bodyguards, and thus the carefree millionaire who once flaunted his wealth on social media now lived like a prisoner in his parents' Mexico City mansion, constantly looking over his shoulder. Even today, months after the incident, Fofo can't leave his house without a security detail. He carries a radio to stay in constant contact with his guards and must plan every movement in advance. His family's money, which once seemed to solve every problem, now only serves to keep him alive another day. The young man who once boasted about his power to shut down bridges now finds himself trapped by something far more powerful, and that's fear. Pure and utter fear. But while Fofo Marquez at least lived to regret his run-in with the cartel, our next case shows how some social media stars paid the ultimate price for their provocations.
Porque estaba lo malo de guerra y cada vez vuelvo a a ver, ¿cuándo vamos para allá para Jalisco? ¿Dónde compa aquí?
January 4th, 2018. A teenage TikToker from Culiacan adjusts his assault rifle and boldly claims protection from the Sinaloa cartel. Now, little did he know claiming false protection from one of the biggest cartels in the world wouldn't save him from messing with one of the deadliest men alive. Born in Culiacan, Sinaloa, where cartel influence runs through the city like blood through veins, El Chanito grew up idolizing the narco lifestyle. His real name is unknown. We know him as Chanito, simply meaning little kid in Spanish, a nickname that would soon carry a dark irony. The streets that had spawned countless drug lords shaped his understanding of power and respect. But unlike those who moved in silence, El Chanito chose to broadcast his narco aspirations to the world. His YouTube channel became notorious for explicit content glorifying cartel life. Each video pushed boundaries further, showing off weapons, bragging about connections he didn't have, building a following through increasingly dangerous stunts. But what truly caught viewers' attention was his relentless mockery of other social media stars, particularly El Pirata, who had just gotten killed a short while before. Now El Pirata's execution should have served as a warning, but as they say, hindsight is always 20/20. Instead, El Chanito saw an opportunity in what would prove to be his final bid for fame. He crafted a video that broke every unwritten rule of survival in cartel territory.
Yo no pego la verga, maestro, y así nomás le digo, aquí, todo aquí.
Standing with his assault rifle, El Chanito made the fatal mistake of claiming protection from Ismael El Mayo Zambada, a leader of the Sinaloa cartel. But he didn't stop there. He directly challenged El Mencho. The video was filled with insults, threats, and what would prove to be tragically misplaced confidence.
Aquí está lo malo de guerra, y para ver, bueno, a ver, ¿cuándo vamos para allá para Jalisco? ¿Dónde compa?
And the response? Well, that came faster than anyone expected. Within days, El Chanito's bravado crumbled completely. A new video appeared, showing a drastically different person. Gone was the carefree teenager who had threatened one of Mexico's most dangerous men. In his place sat a visibly terrified youth, his voice shaking as he pleaded for mercy, claiming mental illness. He desperately tried to walk back his threats.
Pide disculpas. Pide disculpas, Mencho. Pide disculpas. No están ni 5 sentidos.
But in the world of cartels, apologies rarely erase offenses. Then came the silence. El Chanito's social media accounts went dark. His followers, who had cheered his boldness days before, now waited anxiously for any sign of life. Weeks had passed without a word. Some hoped he'd simply just gone into hiding, maybe learned his lesson, and chosen to disappear. But silence often tells its own story. Then a CCTV video surfaced online. The footage showed El Chanito riding his motorcycle through the streets of Culiacan. In a matter of seconds, 2 armed men approached and shot him point blank. The video then shows him falling from his bike after multiple shots, his final moments caught in stark black and white. The security footage spread across social media platforms like wildfire, serving as a graphic reminder of cartel justice. El Chanito's story had come full circle, from posting videos seeking fame to becoming the subject of a final fatal viral clip. Yet perhaps the most horrifying aspect of El Chanito's story wasn't his death, but how quickly the cycle would repeat. Even as news of his fate spread through social media, other young influencers were already planning their own provocations, each convinced they would somehow be different. It's pretty fair to say that some lessons seem impossible to learn, even when they're so obviously written in blood.
Seguro que donde sea que estés, doy contigo, y te haré que te comas tus palabras, aunque me acuse.
August 2021. Journalist Azucena Uresti watches her own death threat unfold on screen. Mexico's most feared cartel, the CJNG, has just given her an ultimatum: stop exposing their operations or die. But what she does next will shock both the cartels and the nation. Born March 15, 1978 in Monterrey, Mexico, Azucena grew up in one of Mexico's most dangerous regions, where cartel violence and corruption were part of daily life. But growing up in in such a dangerous place did little to deter young Uresti from her goal of becoming a journalist. She rose through the ranks of Mexican journalism to become one of the nation's most respected voices, hosting primetime shows on Milenio Television and Radio Formula. And while other journalists self-censored out of fear, Uresti used every platform at her disposal, from traditional media to YouTube and TikTok, to expose the brutal reality of cartel violence. But it was her detailed coverage of the CJNG's operations that caught all of the attention, and not in a good way.
Earlier this week, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel posted a video online in which they directly threatened Uresti.
The video was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. Surrounded by armed men in military-style uniforms, a CJNG spokesperson delivered a chilling message directly to Azucena. They accused her of taking sides in their conflicts and warned her to, quote, balance her reporting, which is pretty much cartel code for stop exposing our activities altogether, or else. The threat was clear: change your coverage or face the deadly consequences.
Lo único que les digo es que sean parejos y no se la den para un solo lado. No acarreen ustedes con problemas que no les corresponden, porque nunca le he pegado a ningún noticiero, porque nunca me habían tirado a mí directamente. Pero esta señorita, bueno, si se le puede llamar señorita, Azucena Uresti.
In Mexico, such threats usually led to one of two outcomes: silence or death. The Committee to Protect Journalists has already recorded 64 murdered journalists since the beginning of 2023, with another 16 missing. These weren't just statistics to Azucena. They were her colleagues, her friends. But instead of backing down, something extraordinary happened. The Mexican president himself stepped forward, publicly guaranteeing Azucena's safety. In a country where cartel influence often reached the highest levels of government, this was unprecedented. Now, Azucena didn't flee or go into hiding. Instead, she did something even more remarkable. She kept reporting. In a TikTok video that went viral, she calmly announced that she was under government protection and would continue her work. Her message was clear: she wouldn't be silenced. The cartel's response? Silence. For perhaps the first time, one of Mexico's most brutal criminal syndicates had failed to intimidate their target. Uresti continued her reporting, protected by government security but never wavering from her commitment to the truth. However, her situation remains precarious. After all, in a country where cartels have managed to reach their targets, even under protection, every day brings new risks. Some wonder if the CJNG is simply biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Others see her as living proof that standing up to cartels is possible. Azucena's ongoing story marks a rare moment of defiance in Mexico's dark history of cartel intimidation. While others paid with their lives for crossing the cartels, some through reckless stunts, others through misguided confidence, her tale stands as proof that with enough courage, institutional support, and unwavering commitment to truth, it is indeed possible to stand against even Mexico's most feared criminal organizations. In Mexico's dangerous dance between social media and cartels, some stories end in blood, others in fear, and a rare few in defiance. The question remains: how many more will test these waters, thinking they'll be different?